Hello, everyone. Let's take a look at the graph of the week. So the first question is asking what type of graph is it? Well, when I think of type of graph, I normally look at the shape. So if I have rectangular bars that are either going vertically or horizontally, I know I'm dealing with a bar graph. If I see one line, whether it's straight or kind of has bumps along the way, and whether it's more than one line, I know that that is a line graph. If I have a circle with lots of like percentages cut out of it, that is a circle graph or a pie chart. And if I have a rectangle with a line coming out of one end or both, that is a box plot. So let's think about what type of graph we have based on the shape we are seeing in the middle. Second question is asking, what is the graph about? So when we think about what the graph is about, we look at the title. It says US teens' favorite social platform. Now, when I see that word social, I look over here and it says TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. So now I'm realizing, hey, these are social medias that we are talking about, and specifically teens' favorite. What does the x-axis represent and what does the y-axis represent? Well, let's take a look. The x-axis, as a reminder, is our horizontal. The y-axis, as a reminder, is our vertical. So as I'm looking at the horizontal axis, the x-axis, I'm seeing lots of spring, fall, and I'm seeing 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Well, let's think about that. How could we represent, or what should we have the label be if it's spring and fall and it's giving us the different years? The y-axis on this vertical, it looks like we have percentages, but think about what do those percentages represent? Question number 5 is asking us which social media, according to the graph, was the most popular among teens in fall 2022. So let's find fall 2022. And if we want most popular, then we want the greatest number of teens said it was their favorite. Which social media is that? Question number 6 is asking us which social media had the largest decrease in popularity. Largest decrease. Decrease meaning going down. Which social media went down the most in popularity? And about or approximately how much was that decrease? So I'm looking at the graph, I'm looking at what were the highest points for different social media and how far did they go down? So if I'm looking, TikTok is only going up, so that's not going to have the largest decrease. I'm looking at Snapchat, it's going up and it hits a high point right here, maybe at 47%, but then it drops down to 30%. So let's write this as 47. I'm seeing that Instagram has a high point right here of about 35, and it drops down to 20%. And I'm seeing Twitter starts at 21% and drops all the way down to 2%. How can you figure out which one has the largest drop? What is the difference between its highest point and its lowest point? Question 7 is asking which social media had the largest increase in popularity, and approximately about how much was this increase? So now we're going in the opposite direction of number 6. Which social media went up the most? So if we're looking, let's see, it looks like Twitter and Facebook only decreased, so it's not them. It looks like Instagram had a small increase, but maybe not that much. So it's really looking at TikTok, which it looks like went from 13% to 38%, and Snapchat, which went from 11% to 47%. Now we need to decide, are we looking over the course of the graph or if we only looking at the most recent? You get to decide how you answer that question. Question 8, how would you describe the changes in Instagram's popularity from 2015 to 2022? From the start of the graph to the end of the graph, what's happening to Instagram's line? Is it increasing for part of it? Is it decreasing for part of it? How would you describe how it's changing? Question 9 is asking, how many people were surveyed for this data? Who did the company ask? Well, if we're looking, the bottom of the graph tells us this information normally. So we see that the graph was published on marketingcharts.com in October 2022. And the source was Piper Sandler. When you Google, they're an investment bank. It says that October 2022 data was based on a survey of 14,500 US teens with an average age of 15.8, and it also tells us their average household income. So how many people were surveyed? It tells you right here. It tells you the number of teens surveyed. And then it asks, what was their average age? Well, that's the next part. And this is really important when we're looking at a graph because we need to decide, did they ask enough people so that the data is reliable? Or did they only ask 2 people? And that's not really enough people to really get an idea of what's going on. I think 14,500 US teens might be a big enough group of people to get an idea of what's going on. Question 10 is asking, based on your observations from the graph, what do you think will happen in the future? So taking a look at the trends, which social medias are decreasing, which social medias have been increasing. If we did this graph again in 2025, what do you think this graph would look like?